Hey everyone, it's Jaden here from SpeedCubeShop.com, and today we're taking a look at the highly anticipated GAN 562M 5x5. So this cube has been on pretty much everyone's mind ever since the Hong 5x5 was first announced. They got announced at pretty similar times, and I think everyone was really curious to see how they would compare to each other. And since then, the Hong 5x5 has been released, and a lot of people actually genuinely like it. It was a pretty solid release. The cube was really good, it had great performance, but I know a lot of people were holding off getting the Hong until the release of the GAN 5x5 because we kept seeing a lot of people sponsored by GAN who were putting up some really solid times with the prototype that they were sent.
Let's go.
And the last thing before we open this cube up, I want to go over the pricing. There are two different versions of this cube. You have the frosted version, which is $59.95, and you have the UV coated version, which is $69.95 at SpeedCubeShop.com. Now with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the cube. So first off, looking at the packaging, it's actually really nice. It looks to be a very similar size to the 3x3 packaging, so it doesn't look like it got much bigger, if at all. And the design of the packaging is actually really nice. I'm really enjoying it. And opening it up on the inside, we have a card here, which has a very similar design to the packaging. Then we also have the cube in its case, which is actually really similar to the 13 and 14. There is no detachable bottom, so there's no like hidden accessories there. And the last thing is the accessories box. Let's go ahead and see what comes inside the accessories box here. So doesn't really seem to be all that much. We have a screwdriver here, cube solve guide here for 5x5. And then of course, whoa, different logo on the bag. Was not expecting that, but yeah, a nice bag for their 5x5 here. So now let's take a look at the cube itself. So the box is pretty standard. You just press down on the GAN logo, springs open, and here it is. So it appears we have the frosted version here. And just looking at the cube, it looks really nice. I like the colors, but I'm sure you guys are more interested in how the cube performs. So let's go ahead and do some first turns. So right away when doing first turns, I could tell this cube was a little tight compared to something like the Hong 5x5. I was catching just a bit more than I'm used to, but loosening the cube up, setting it up should pretty much fix that problem, make it go away. The turning feel of the cube is still relatively fast, but it's also stable and controllable. It's got a bit of an airy and sandy feel to it, but that's pretty much to be expected with most cubes out of the box, and especially a GAN cube. For me, I actually kind of prefer the Hong when it comes to straight out of the box performance, but again, we haven't set this cube up, so my opinion will probably change. For corner cutting, it's actually pretty good forward, and reverse is pretty much what you'd expect for pretty much every 5x5. Not great, but then again, you probably shouldn't be using that much reverse corner cutting anyway. So overall, out of the box experience, it's actually pretty good. It's definitely up there with one of the best 5x5s to ever be released. But now let's go ahead and take a look underneath the center cap. So that actually came out really easily. It did feel like it was snug though, so it's not gonna come out in the middle of your solves, but it was really easy to get off. And looking underneath the center, it looks to be just a screw and spring situation. So let's go ahead and put that back on, and let's take out some of these pieces here. Oh wow, really tight, okay. Got the GAN screwdriver, let's go ahead and loosen it up a bit. Okay, the screw is pretty hard to turn with this screwdriver. It's not great for holding. Hey GAN, if you could make the base of the screwdriver a little bit thicker to make it a little easier to hold, that would be much appreciated. So now that we've loosened it up, let's go ahead and take these pieces out. So first up, we have the pieces here, which do have exposed magnets and the honeycomb pattern on them. And in the base of the corners, we have magnets. So this is a core magnetized cube. So I'm just now noticing this, but the magnets on the outer layer feel a little bit weaker than the ones on the inner layer. And here is a good look at the core. You can see the core magnets in there, and you can see some of these exposed magnets on the edge pieces as well. And now the last thing to do, let's get this cube reassembled and see how it feels when it's set up. So I think for setting up this cube, I'm just gonna loosen it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna use a combination of Lunar and Stardust. So the cube is now set up, and I've actually spent all of yesterday with it just to really narrow down my thoughts. So right off the bat, as I said yesterday, this cube is one of the best 5x5s that I have ever used. The out-of-the-box performance is really good, and of course is even better when it's set up. And the actual setup process itself didn't really take all that long. I slightly loosened the tensions and added a fairly small amount of lube, and that was pretty much it. My overall experience with this cube over the last roughly 24 hours has been generally really positive. I haven't had any pops, any corner twists, or any major misalignments. And I'm still hitting my normal 5x5 times. Now, to answer the question that I'm sure most people have had well before this video was ever made, is it better than the Hong? Of course, the answer is gonna be that it comes down to personal preference. However, I will say that if you have a bit more of an accurate or kind of light turning style, then the GAN 5x5 is probably more catered towards you. For me personally, my turning style is a bit more inaccurate and very rough, and the Hong seems to be able to handle that a little bit better. But even still, like I said earlier, I'm still hitting my normal 5x5 times, and I still really enjoy the solve, so I'd probably use the GAN 5x5 as probably more of a warm-up cube. And remember, performance is not the only thing to take into consideration when choosing a cube. You may also want to think about the size and weight of the cube, the exterior coating, and the price. So when it comes to the weight of the two cubes, the Hong and the GAN 5x5, they're actually the exact same at 130 grams. However, the GAN 5x5 is about a millimeter bigger. And when it comes to exterior finish, the Hong only has UV coating, but the GAN 5x5 gives you the option between frosted or UV coating. But the prices for both GAN 5x5s are more expensive than the Hong 5x5. So there's definitely a lot to consider when choosing which 5x5 to get. However, if you do decide to go with the GAN 5x5, there will be a link down in the description below to get one at SpeedCubeShop.com. And that's pretty much it for this video. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below whether or not you'll be picking up one of these GAN 5x5s, and let us know, in your opinion, is it better than the Hong? Is it not? Really curious to hear your guys' thoughts. And like I said, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.